Hi and welcome back. In this section, what we're going to do is to create your first basic animation using Opentoonz. So when you open up Opentoonz, you're going to see this splash window always pop up. You can always turn it off and say, hey, disable this one, but I just like leaving it out here just because I just feel it's nice and it's not really disruptive. But in case it's disruptive, all you need to do is just turn off this, and next time you start Opentoonz, you won't see this window. So let's go ahead and create a new project. So I'm going to specify a location for it. I'll just leave it here and I'll call this our bouncing object, like so, and I'll click OK. And now we have that bouncing object. I'll just go ahead and if we want, we can create a new scene, but we're going to discuss about scenes much later on, and we'll just leave this as it is. So here you can see our current object is the bouncing object. I'll just click this new scene here in bouncing objects, and let's just give this scene a name. So we'll just call this our first underscore object. So basically your scene is going to contain information about your current projects and your working environment. So you can have more than one scene. Just like during animation, you can have lots and lots of scenes that describe what's happening in your entire animation. So for this scene, we're going to call this first object, and once we've had that scene name, we're going to click on create scene. I'm going to leave everything as default and click on create scene. So now we're in our first scene. So also what we want to do is to create a drawing level. So we can do that by either creating a vector level or a raster level or a new Toonz raster level. So let's just go ahead and click on a raster level. I'll just leave it at the default name and click OK. So with the raster level created, we could just go ahead and start drawing in our environment. To draw, all we need to do is to go over here to the top left and go over here to our tool here and click on this drawing tool, and we could just start drawing lines like so. And if you're on a Wacom tablet, you can make sure you check on this pressure and you can click your pressure. To erase, you can just simply click the eraser and make this slightly large so you can cover a larger area, and we can just use this to erase and wipe away any drawings we've created. Again, we actually have these shortcut menus that change the interface based on what we want to work on currently. So, but for simplicity, we're going to leave it at drawing and go back to our drawing tool. So the first thing I'll do is just create a nice box shape, and this is the shape I'm going to animate. So this is our first scene, our first layer right here. We can just drag this over, and you can see we only have one drawing. If I go over here on the next frame, we don't actually see our drawing. So how do we see our drawing between frames? We use what is called the onion skinning, and the shortcut is just down here. If we click on this orange yellow item at the bottom, and we just click the one on the right, so anything that's red means that's your previous frame, and what's going to be drawn after that is going to be your next frame. So I'll just draw the next frame like this and try to just keep my volume consistent. To move to the next frame, you could just hit the arrow key and you could just dial back left and dial back right. So left means this is the keyframe on the right, the drawing the next keyframe, the drawing on the next frame rather, and then this is going to be the drawing on the previous frame. So let's just go ahead and add a few more animations. Now I'm trying to easily attach a simple easing in just to show that this object is gradually, going to be changing as I just move that gradually like so. So I'm going to draw the next one, and I'm kind of drawing it slightly close to each other. Now as I've reached my frame 7, I'm going to start giving some distance, and I'm making it a bit elongated. Just add a little distance, make this slightly elongated because it's moving super fast. just giving some slight distance. And once it's going over here, I'll just try to reduce that length of that object like so. Just keep drawing, and once it's almost at the bottom, I'm going to quickly stretch it because it's hitting the ground right now. So at this point, if I drag this is our previous drawing, this is our next frame. So here I'm going to like indicate this object has just hit the ground, so it's going to be squished a little bit like so. So here I've changed the volume, and here I'm going to make it slightly elongated again and push down. So just slightly like so, push down. Again, I'm going to make it super stretched like so. And then finally, I'm going to just do the last one and make it really stretchy. And then now that it's stretched, I want to make sure it's going back to its original shape. So I can check out all these previous frames. If I click on this, like so, I'll actually see all these frames I've had at the back, like so. So if I want to draw this next frame, showing that this object is beginning to, push back up, so I'll just start drawing this frame back like so, and the next frame. So I'll just get rid of all these guys like so. Just click on them and they're gone. And I just want to have, I'll just get rid of this. Just want to have a little more, sorry, not the top, the bottom. Good. So here I'm going to start, reducing this height and bringing this back up like so. So it's begun to increase in height, and it's begun to come back to its regular shape. And I'll just do this, and we'll start taking it back up like so. And we can just let's do this. Okay, that's super fine. So we can actually scrub and see it's falling down. Now it's going back up. So this is the next frame, and since we want this to be really fast, I'll just drag it up here, and the next frame I'll just drag this up here, and the next frame I'll just drag this up here, so it's begun to get its shape back. And then over here, I'll now begin to draw these frames really close to each other, like so. So I have another one like so, another one like so, and another one like so. I don't like what I did here because it's like it's squashed when it went back up again, and that's super weird. So this is going to be the animation length. To play this, if I hit on this loop, so we can actually see our object bounce up and be kind of like super bouncy. And you can actually see what happened up there. There's something wrong with this animation frame, especially when it's around here. So it's going up here, and then all of a sudden it has tilted towards the right a little bit. I'll just drag this up here to our end frames, and let's just take a look at this real quick so you can actually see that. So we are tilting our animation. This is where we're at 27, this is 28, so it's tilting a bit towards the right. So from 25, 26, I think we lost our volume in 26 as well. We actually get the idea. So at 27, I'll just use the eraser tool and make this slightly, eraser. And I'll just clean up this animation because I don't like that feeling. I'll hit my brush tool and just try to make this, retain some of that volume so I don't have it super wonky. And then at 28, it's seriously tilting towards the right. So I'll just get rid of this like so. So now we're at 27, 28. So I can just decide to draw this real close to it, like so. And then I'll just test this again. Okay, and I'll set it to loop. All right, that's super cool. Now, what we can also do to make sure that our animation retains its volume is to ensure that each time we're drawing this, we actually have a guideline or like a background for the animation. So here, this is just a simple example. And if we wanted to export this, what we could do is to go to our render and go to our output settings. And let's give this a name. It's called camera 1. I just want to call this, oops, not this one here. I'll just call this my square. And I'll set the output format to an MP4 so we can have this in the video format. And I'll click render, projects, bouncing objects. So good. So now we've rendered it. We can go and find where it is. So it's in my Opentoonz project here. So it's in my projects, and we called it bouncing object, and we have our outputs, and it should be here. We called it square.mp4, and we should see our happy bouncy square. We can send to anyone and say, hey, we know how to animate a bouncing square. So thank you very much for watching, guys. I just hope this wasn't too difficult. It's actually a fun process. You can animate critically anything. You can even make this more fun by adding some, let's say we want to make this have some character. So we could just start doing something like this. And add a little face here. And on the next frame, we could just start, doing stuff and saying, hey, it's our first frame, our next frame, and just seeing stuff here. I believe this is super, I'll just drop this here. So on frame 2, I could just draw the eyes slightly lower, like so, and then put the face like that. So we can play this and see that, hey, we have a little face and it's animating like so. Alright guys, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next quick tip.